recapping Jim Mora with what he was saying about Josh Rosen. I understand the whole millennial. I think when you say he's a millennial, it felt like that was the knock on millennials, that they're always asking why. I would think that would be a great thing. Instead of having somebody just take whatever you're saying. Now, and maybe this drives coaches crazy, that you don't want to keep answering why. Because we've all been there at the table, when son or daughter, young, going, why? Why? And then you go, ask your mom after a while. I don't know if Josh Rosen is going to be going, why are you calling it that? Why are we doing that? Why? He's inquisitive. And I think because of that is something that should be held in regard, in my opinion. Not a negative, but it felt like when he said, if he would have said, you know what I love about Josh is he's always asking why. He wants to be better. He wants to understand. When he says he's a millennial, then it felt like it was a knock because it's a millennial asking why. But I do think that Jim Mora does believe what he's saying, and he's being honest. I think the tricky part is that he didn't want to go to Cleveland, or there was a report that he was letting people know he didn't want to go to Cleveland. And then all of a sudden, Sam Darnold's more workmanlike than Josh Rosen. So I think that was where people were trying to interpret exactly what was he saying here. Yeah, Paul.
But do you think you could skew this the other way, that old school NFL football coaches look at, they hear that phrase, he always asks why, needs to be challenged. They think, oh, he's too smart for his own good and always questions authority, or is going to question my direction and not follow orders. Can you see how that could be skewed the other way? Management also often looks at employees and says, just do what I say, don't ask questions.
Yeah, they don't want high maintenance. But, Jim brings up a great point. Peyton Manning would drive you crazy. Tony Dungy said he would question everything, but he wanted to understand this. I'm sure Brady is this way. I'm sure Drew Brees is this way. But, as a rookie, you're probably not. I don't think Brady came in, all of a sudden he's going, why? Unless he's going, why am I not starting? But, Brees, did he come in and he's doing that? I don't think so. Peyton probably did. But I don't look at this as a negative with Josh Rosen. Not at all. I think he's the most ready quarterback right now. But I don't know about injuries. That's another thing that's sort of been quiet on Josh Rosen. But I think that he's cerebral and, wants to be great. But, the other stuff, I don't know. Intangibles, I don't know. I don't know what he's like to be around. Is he too cocky for his own good? And if you say he is, then what's Baker Mayfield? Yes, he.
So why would, the desire to understand something, why, like you would ask the question, why do we need to do that, seen as challenging something?
I think, it's the NFL. Like, who are you to be able to ask me why? Like, I'm the coach here. You're 22 years of age, and I'm, I've been coaching for 30 years.
But isn't there something to teaching somebody? I mean, if you're going to teach somebody how to do something, you have to explain the why of it, right? So wouldn't it be, if he said why, I disagree with that, then that would be challenging it. But helping somebody understand the reasoning for something shouldn't be seen as a challenge.
I loved it. My son is very inquisitive, as you guys know, and he's always asking why. But he does want to understand something. So I understand it, and he's a little bit older than Josh. But if you're asking why, it's better than not saying anything and not caring about it, but at least understanding it. And I think at that position, I want a quarterback who asks why.
I mean, if you don't understand why something is important, wouldn't you just keep making the same mistake over and over again? Like, hey, buddy, why do you keep throwing into that coverage? We told you not to do that. Oh, well, if I understood why I wasn't supposed to do that, then I wouldn't keep throwing these interceptions.
If you could tell me why I'm throwing these interceptions, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paulie.
But how many times have you been in a meeting with someone in management and they're giving you an idea and no one in the room wants to ask, why are we doing this? We just go along with the flow. I think it's one of those, almost like a corporate discussion we're having here, is that he's a cog. They look at these old football coaches are 50 and 60 years old and look at him as a cog.
Okay, but how did this come up that Josh Rosen didn't want to play in Cleveland? Who had that report? And has somebody since asked Josh Rosen, do you want to play in Cleveland? Yeah, McLovin.
I think Rosen did say, I'm fine with playing with Cleveland, but there was a report.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
I'm fine with playing in Cleveland?
Yeah, he said that. No, it came out.
That's not a good quote.
No, that's not the exact quote. But basically, someone reported Josh Rosen doesn't want any part of Cleveland. Josh Rosen said, that's not true. I'll play anywhere. He said the right thing. But it was clearly the first report.
But how did it get out? Does it feel like it was based on something and then all of a sudden somebody said, hey, don't be that guy. You don't want to go. That would bother me more than anything. If he says, hey, I don't want to go to Cleveland. I know Ryan Leaf, friend of the show, and, was an NFL bust. He said, if I was a quarterback, I would boycott. I would not want to go to Cleveland. I don't like that.
But you didn't mind it with Eli, did you?
San Diego didn't want Eli Manning.
But you didn't mind. John Elway did the same thing with
John Elway,
someone.
and I understood he was saying I didn't want to go to that organization. I didn't like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with Hugh Jackson as a coach. And you got John Dorsey, who's a respected GM. Now, somebody's going to be the hero in Cleveland one of these days. Somebody's going to be the savior one. And the fact that you want that, I love that. I want somebody who wants to be the hero in Cleveland. He's going to be the guy who proves to be better than Bernie Kosar or Brian Sipe or Frank Ryan. I want that. But you have to want it. Yeah, Fritzy.
Before the Cactus Bowl last December, according to
Clear your throat.
ESPN NFL reporter Josh Weinfuss, Josh Rosen was quoted as saying, I'd rather be a lower pick at the right team than a higher at the wrong team. And that got people all excited and jumping into maybe saying that he'd rather go to the Giants or some other team other than the Browns.
Well, you do want to go to a better team. I get that. If you go a little bit lower in the draft, you're going to a team that has a little bit more building blocks there. Cleveland, you're starting over. Yeah, Pauline.
Let's say hypothetically you were in Josh Rosen's shoes 2 months ago and you wanted to not go to Cleveland. Would you overtly announce, I don't want to go to Cleveland, a la Eli Manning and John Elway, or would you surreptitiously have one of your people leak it out there and get the message to Cleveland like, hey, don't draft me, man?
No, but you're still going to be asked about this.
Right, but
every interview you're asked about it.
You lie in the interviews. You say, I want to go wherever. I just want to play some football.
Well, no, there's a report that, from your camp that says you don't want to play in Cleveland. Where did that comment come from?
You deny it publicly and stand by it privately.
It won't take long to get out, though, that you're doing that. I mean, there's too much time and money and they investigate. You had somebody they hired somebody to follow Baker Mayfield, a private eye to follow Baker Mayfield. This is big business here. This is serious. If you're saying that that would bother me more about Rosen, that he didn't want to go to Cleveland. Now you might say, boy, he is really smart. Yes, McLevin.
What about the coaching thing that we mentioned earlier? The fact that it might be a one and done coach. That's a valid reason.
That is a valid reason. It is. And that would be the first question I would have for John Dorsey, the GM, is I want to be here for the long haul. I want to make sure. Now, he might say, hey, if you play well, then Hugh Jackson keeps his job. But I would be concerned if they win 3 games next year, is Hugh Jackson back? That would be a concern. Because you don't want to get in and all of a sudden you got another offensive coordinator and then another offensive coordinator.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.